So, what I have here is a 5-frame medium super, and in the middle of this 5-frame medium super there are 2 frames of brood, of open brood. I placed them in there, I think it was about 3 days ago now, and it was open brood. It had fresh eggs and a variety of open brood of all ages, from day-old eggs to probably 6 or 7 day old larvae. And then on the side I have some drawn comb and maybe a little bit of pollen. I also put in, it was yesterday or the day before, I put in a homemade pollen patty, a very rich, highly concentrated, basically block of fondant that just super concentrated with real pollen that I took from my bees last year. And I'm hoping that they'll take that pollen down too and help make royal jelly and make more baby bees, but also they're queenless, so hopefully they're making queen cells. I took the nurse bees from this colony over here. It's a small colony, but they had plenty of nurse bees, and so I shook most of those nurse bees out into this small box with that open brood, with the hope that they're going to make some queen cells out of it. At the bottom of the super has a little shim, so that if they make any queen cells on the bottom of the frame, that they can hang down lower and not just hit the bottom of the bottom board. So there's a little extra space for that. But it's a fairly tight packing of 5 frames into this little box, and I realized that they'd probably be better if I had 4 frames instead and spread them out so that those queen cells, which protrude outside the side of the frames, they would have more room, more space, so that when I do inspect the hive in about a week to see if there's any queen cells, that it's less likely that I'm going to destroy those cells, because sometimes those cells will actually rub against the frame next to them and you pull the frame out and it just destroys the queen cell. So I don't think they would have started queen cells right now, so I think it's still early enough for me to get in there, remove one of these side frames, and then spread out the 4 frames with the 2 brood in the middle. And I'll continue to feed them. I haven't given them any syrup yet, because I think they do have some honey. But I gave them that pollen and fondant. I don't know if they're going to touch it. I've never really done that in the summertime before. But I think it should work. I hope it does. Hope it gives them some nutrition so they can make some good queen cells. But for now, I'm just going to go in there and spread those 4 frames out, and so that those frames of brood with eggs in them, which they'll make queen cells from, have a little bit of space so that the queen cells have room to just poke out and not bang into the frames next to them. Since they're queenless, they might be a little bit defensive, and I don't have any smoke and no gloves. I am wearing a veil though, and I'm only just going to use this spray bottle, and it's just a fine mist. I think it's sugar water, but it might just be water. And I don't know how I'm going to hold this camera and do this, so let's just see here. I have no idea if that camera's getting anything, so here we go. So we'll pop the top off, a bit of insulation. Oh baby, yeah. Okay, well, there's a whole lot of bees in there, and I will need smoke and more protection than this. Okay, take 2. Let's try this again. So, when I opened up that hive, that little red piece of insulation up top, there was a big clump of bees clinging to the bottom of it. So it's going to make this more complicated. So I'm going to pick that up, and with all that clump of bees, I'm just going to put them right here in this box just to hold them until I go in there and remove that frame. And if this is too tangly, I'm just not going to do it. It ain't worth it, man. So here we go. Let's see what happens. There's a big clump of bees. Now I'm going to take this rim off for a second. I got to remove the rim in order to get that frame out. This is supposed to be so much easier if I had someone to just pass the stuff off to. Solo beekeeping. I like it because it's peaceful and I don't have anybody in my face slowing me down. But there are times when I wish I had someone just to help me speed it up a bit once in a while. Alright, so let's take a look. I don't have to worry about killing the queen, because there is no queen. Let's see if they're eating this. Yep, they're eating this pollen. Good. Whole lot of bees in here. I think the brood is over here. So I will remove this frame and hope for the best. Now that I'm looking at it, I think there might actually be enough space for a queen cell. But let's just play it safe here. Let's see what we got. Oh man, these frames are really tight inside the frame, inside the box. So maybe this is a good idea. Oh, yeah, this is good. They're really taking in a lot of nectar already, so that's good. They got food. So I'm going to move this frame over. I just want to check, make sure this isn't a frame of brood. Because if it is, I don't know. It is not. Okay. All right. So this is a drawn frame. Let me just take a look here. Oh yeah. This is a better frame of drawn comb, so and it's got more nectar in it, so I'll replace that. And here is the frame of brood. Okay, so that's all I did, is I took this frame and that frame, which have the brood on them, and I just spread them out. Now I'm going to put this pollen back on, and hopefully I'm not doing more harm than good here. Now I'll move the cluster of bees back in. And we're done. Oh shoot, no we're not. It's this frame of bees over here. I meant to shake them in. Nice bees, man. So I'm just going to, instead of shaking them out, I'm just going to put them there like this and let them find their way back into this little hive. So it would be easier just to shake them. But let's see here. Oh, here we go. Scenting. It's sort of a reflex reaction to bees that are disoriented. This one's scenting down here. Once they get a whiff of, oh, there they go, hold on a sec. Scenting. So this is called shaking the bees. And now they're all going to just march right into the hive. So the idea behind this, again, is so that this small box that is packed with bees, a lot of nurse bees, and 2 frames of open brood of various ages, because they're queenless, they will take those eggs and make some queen cells out of them. Basically emergency queen cells. It's similar to what you would get in a walk-away split, where you split the hive in half, and the half that doesn't have a queen and has some open brood will make a new queen out of the open brood. So it's not a lot of foragers in this hive, because, and it's right now it is just a hive of bees. It's not a colony of bees because there's no queen in there. But right now they're not going crazy with foraging. I think most of the bees in here are nurse bees, and they're just sort of, walking around. They're eating that pollen patty in there, so they're getting some nutrition for making royal jelly, for feeding brood, for making queens. So hopefully it'll work. And they seem to have plenty of, here's one of the frames I took out. You can see there's glistening nectar in there. So they do have enough nectar to keep them going. Anyway, I don't know if this is going to work. Sometimes the bees just don't read the same beekeeping textbooks that I've read, and they just do something else altogether. But I've never had issues with making walkaway splits, getting queens from walkaway splits, except for this particular colony. They just will not make queen cells, whether it's through swarming, through supersedure, or through emergency queen cells. They just won't do it. And there are better ways to do this. I could crowd them with a queen, and they make swarm cells. I could graft some eggs and make some queen cells that way. I'm trying to create a queen in a manner that's less labor intensive. Usually a walkaway split, which is essentially what this is the least labor intensive way of going about it. The best queens probably come from, I'm pretty sure they do come from swarm cells, but I'm sure there's arguments about that. But in any case, this should work, and I think I'll get a good queen out of her. And I don't know, we'll see.